Hey friends, Dora and Magnus here for Gamereactor. And we are continuing our series on Hitman, which has just wrapped up its first season and is now releasing everything on disc and on digital. And right here we're focusing on chapter 2.
Yeah, we're focusing on the second chapter of the first season called Sapienza, which is now widely regarded as one of the best Hitman levels of all time. So I spoke to studio creative director at IO Interactive, Christian Elverdam, about why players reacted so positively to this level in particular.
It's down to many things. The team had a good long period to work on Sapienza. It had a really long lead-in time. They had a very clear idea about where what sort of ambience they were trying to achieve, what sort of place they wanted to achieve. This Amalfi sort of southern Italian feeling was pretty clear and crisp from the get-go. But then I also think what you could already see in the very beginning with Sapienza, even when it was complete block-up gray mesh and not really polished at all, this feeling that you could walk around the level, and even though you didn't know exactly where you were going, you never felt that you were lost. And I think it's down to a few different things. One way of feeling lost could be that you come to a dead end and you have to backtrack. And Sapienza actually has almost no dead ends as a level. And if you consider how big it is, that means it's sort of built like a web of, or a sort of tunneling through the entire level, sometimes below ground, but also into a building out of it on the other side. At no point in time can you you're not stuck. You can always try to either take a ladder down or there's just some agility to go by. And I think Sapienza is in season 1 the level that does this to the highest level. And then I also think it's almost just in itself a tourist location, if you know what I mean. It's very pleasant on the outside, at least. It's such a nice and authentic place to be. And considering that such a big promise of Hitman, at least in my mind, over the years has been to travel the world and visit different locations, I think that's also why it's so fascinating, because you almost feel like you're there, if you know what I mean. It really accomplishes this feeling of I'm actually in southern Italy right now. And then finally, I think as a level itself, it's also fairly forgiving, even for a Hitman level, in terms of especially space, because it feels like you're a little bit more free to sort of screw up or maybe not take the perfect route, or it feels like you can maybe breathe a little bit more than you can in some of the other levels, which I think maybe for a broader audience makes it more appealing, which is obviously interesting for us to, as game devs, also to just learn from what was it that clicked. So I think that's part of it. And then obviously I also think if you think about the maturity of our audience, you've been through the prologue, you've been through Paris, some of the dust has settled, you've started understanding what is the game, that it's about, exploring and keep finding stuff. And then Sapienza comes, right, as this vast, pleasant, huge level where you can keep finding things. I think that just clicked on a fundamental level. And obviously we're super proud of the level here at IO. The icon is a pretty substantial reworking of Sapienza. It takes effort, obviously. Not as much as building the entire Italian town, but obviously coming up with the movie set, building all the props and building the level is the same, basically. It's more like we get a lot of area for free, we get a lot of other stuff from the vibe of the place. We change the tone, we change the time of day. But it was very integral to the way we envisioned season 1, and it's actually the system that actually allows us to do stuff like this, exchange geometry or level setups, also add elusive targets and make them disappear again, is a fundamental technological sort of undertaking that we had to do at the very sort of onset of the project to change our Glacier engine. So that you could actually, it's a little bit complex, but you have your level architecture, you have everything the level is built out of. We had to rebuild or re-architect the whole way we see levels, which is pretty fundamental. But in the end, it allows us to add, for instance, an elusive target to the level or a movie set, and especially with some of these very live elements like the elusive target, you don't have to download gigabytes of data. Obviously, it's way more when it's in a time mission. But we felt if the world is supposed to feel living, then we cannot expect people to sort of download huge chunks every time we do something. Obviously, there are patches and stuff like that, as per normal. But I think we've had updates every week since we started launching the game.
Yeah, so that's it for Chapter 2. Stay tuned for 3, 4, 5, and 6 coming up in the future.